ADHD Entrepreneur Podcast. Join me, your host, Lawrence Pratt, on a wild ride into the world of online business. I've traded a comfortable day job for a 12-month challenge of trying to create financial freedom and passive income from print on demand, self-publishing, affiliate marketing, online courses, and consulting, whilst at the same time learning how to cope with a new diagnosis of ADHD. Each week, I will be exploring the highs and lows amidst a sea of distractions and unfinished business, as well as talking to and gaining insights from other ADHD entrepreneurs. So please subscribe to the ADHD Entrepreneur wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Now enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneur Podcast. It is 2024 and this is the first episode back. I hope you're feeling motivated. I know I have had a bit of a slow start to the new year, but anyway, I'm feeling good today and there's lots to catch up on because obviously we had the Christmas period and I took some time off, as you probably all did as well. So there's lots to catch up on. I want to talk about the Christmas break itself and coping with that. Then I want to give you some updates on the Amazon KDP and how that's performing. And then go into the print on demand project and how the setup of that is going. And then we're going to talk about my freelance website and getting on LinkedIn, and also an update on this podcast's website and social media accounts as well. Lots to get into. And I suppose the themes of this week's updates are a bit of stubbornness, a pivot, and a lot of thinking about marketplaces. Without further ado, let's get into the Christmas holiday. The week leading up to Christmas, I didn't work a full week. Fortunately, I had a ticket to go and see Liverpool play at Anfield in the Carabao Cup quarter-final against West Ham. So I travelled up to there on the Wednesday, up to Liverpool. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because it felt quite good that I was able to fit in my work around some pleasant trips in my life. Due to the expense of getting a train ticket, it's probably about 120 quid. And then on top of that, a hotel room, I decided to be very clever and drive up my camper van. And I stayed in the marina car park. It sounds fabulous, doesn't it? The docks up at Liverpool, they've got a marina and they've got an RV car park. So for camper vans and RVs, essentially, you can park there overnight and stay. I felt that was a great thing to do. It cut down on expense. However, the one downside of that is it took quite a long time to get there, and it felt like a lot longer coming back due to the celebrations of the night before. I suppose the one thing that I really felt was a positive was going up in the camper van allowed me to think about what I'll be doing this year and the opportunities of being a digital nomad and being able to work from anywhere. Whilst I didn't actually do any work whilst I was in Liverpool, it represented the opportunity to me that this is one of the reasons why I became self-employed, is that I could do things like this. I could travel to things that I wanted to see and do, and I could take the van and potentially can, get on and work anywhere. So that felt a really big positive. Plus, it also gave me a chance to think about a lot of things on the drive up, which I think is quite important because with an ADHD brain, there's lots and lots of things going on at any one time. And sometimes you just need a little bit of time and space to reflect and put those thoughts into order. The drive up was fantastic for that. The drive back, not so much. because I ended up repeating and going back through everything that I had thought the day before, but I wasn't able to actually action any of them because I was driving. Yeah, so it was a bit of a plus and negative in that respect. So yeah, that took up that the rest of the week was then basically bit of last minute Christmas shopping. But I was able to switch off for the rest of Christmas. I felt quite well, which I think is quite important. I know that times before when I've been freelance, that there is this real feeling of needing to work when really you should be spending time with your family. And I felt that I was able to manage that quite well. So I think that was a bit of a success. But having said that, I did feel that it was difficult getting started again this week. I tried to do a bit of work at the beginning of the week, but there was still some things that we had planned to do with the kids that sort of made it a bit of a stuttering start. And I think also when you have stopped for Christmas and enjoyed eating lots and drinking lots, does take a bit of a toll on your body and your mindset. So I did find this week I have been struggling to get motivated, but I did quite a bit of work yesterday and today that has continued. So I'm feeling a lot better about moving forward and really going for it next week. So that's Christmas over and done with. Next thing to talk about is the progress with Amazon KDP. So the last time I spoke to you about this was the week before Christmas. I had just started some ads. I'd set up some automatic ads. I could have gone down the route of doing more targeted keywords, and probably that would have been good for targeted keywords like gifts for him and gifts for her and things like that. The more Christmas orientated keywords. However, it was far easier to just do the automatic, and I wanted to see what feedback I got from the results of that. Those ads were running for a little while, and I'm pleased to say that some orders have trickled in. This is not necessarily a huge success. It's not broke the bank. It's not even necessarily broke even on the amount that I've spent on ads. However, I have had 25 orders in so far, and that's from 4 books that I published a little while ago, just before I started this 12-month project. It was something that I was playing around with. And I suppose those 4 books, I could be honest and say those were created purely for myself. There was a podcast planner, a to-do list journal, a nutrition and fitness journal. I'm just looking at them over here. Actually, so yeah, these are those. There's a nutrition and fitness journal planner. So you can add in what you've eaten that day and what your workout is going to be. This podcast planner, that's sold pretty well. And a project planner, doing projects like this in any sort of project management way. Then you can just basically make notes and tick off various different parts of the project. I won't go into those too much, but essentially I created those 4 books for myself to get myself organized. So there wasn't a great deal of competition or research into what was selling. It was more of testing the process of creating the books themselves and then publishing them on Amazon KDP. So even though it's only 25 orders in the last month, for me, that was a bit of a validation of the concept. And if I'm actually now quite excited to put a bit more effort and work into a title that might appeal to more people, a bit more researched and a bit more content, even though it's a low content book. These are all repeated pages. I'm essentially looking forward to creating my next title there. However, I'm happy to just let my KDP store, or my author seller central, I think it's what it's called. I'm happy to just build up a few orders and just hopefully get in some reviews and just build up the status of that account. One thing I did notice though was that they were selling a lot better in the US than they were in the UK. I only placed ads on the US and UK markets as an experiment, but yeah, the US has outperformed. Coconut, can you stop, please? Coconut, my dog, who was just there, is now acting rather like a cat to try and make himself comfortable. Anyway, that distracts me somewhat. And now there are people with a skip outside throwing things in a skip. Got a lot of editing to do with this. Anyway, where was I? The USA marketplace. Okay, it wasn't a surprise that the US marketplace was more dominant, but it has made me think about where I place my efforts. Not necessarily with the Amazon KDP, because it's quite easy within Amazon KDP to create one asset, one book title, and share those out to the various different marketplaces on Amazon. It's made me think more about where I place my efforts in the marketplaces with the print on demand stuff. So that's what I want to talk about next. So with the print on demand stores that I've been setting up, just to recap on what that is, I came across Printify, which is a print on demand provider. They provide you with basic different products that you can print on and then sell in an online store, various different marketplaces, whether it be Etsy, Amazon, your own shop, online shop, or Google as well, various different places. So Printify provide you with those, and they do all the printing and they ship those out. So that is the print on demand model. I started that because I came across something called make.com, which used make.com is a tool for connecting APIs. So you can connect ChatGPT commands to creating descriptions and prompts, and you can then get that to talk to the Printify API and create various different products all automatically. And so I looked at that and I was really impressed by that and wanted to revisit a long held hobby of creating an online store for print on demand products. Initially, the first online store that I published was through WooCommerce. So this is selling the products from Printify on my own online store, which I created through WooCommerce, which, if you're familiar with WooCommerce, it is the WordPress. It's a plugin for WordPress that allows you to create an online store and check out. Now, this is my act of stubbornness. I essentially did that because I'm really used to using WooCommerce and WordPress. I've got a setup created already where I can spin websites up fairly quickly. And so I didn't really do a great deal of research in that. I just went ahead and did that. And it was perfectly fine connecting Printify with WooCommerce and publishing those products on my WooCommerce store. Fine. As far as that went, that was perfect. Well, I can't complain about that. However, I didn't just want to sell those print on demand products on the website. That was just one channel I can use. And that will obviously take time to get some online presence. So I wanted to really lean into various different marketplaces such as Amazon, Etsy, and Facebook and Instagram and Google and various things like that. So this is where I started to run into some issues. In order to connect my WooCommerce store to Amazon, because Printify doesn't connect directly with Amazon. Um, this is where I started to come into my first set of problems. I needed to get a plugin for WooCommerce that would share the products across to Amazon. And that plugin that I used, there was only a few plugins that were available. It really wasn't very easy to set up initially. I had to get a lot of help from the plugin creators, their support desk, and they really worked hard on it. But it was during that process that I thought, hang on a moment, this doesn't look like it's going to be worth it. Is Amazon, if I'm going to have to go through all this trouble every time I want to sync some products across, is it going to be worth it? So I had a pivot moment and I said, maybe I should be um, investing more of my efforts into uh, pushing those Printify products across to Etsy. So that is what I started to do whilst the plugin developers were trying to solve the issues with the Amazon plugin. So I went to a previous Etsy store that I'd created, and that was in the UK. And I linked my Printify store to that and basically just started pushing those Printify products out to Etsy. And that worked rather seamlessly as well. However, I was beginning to think about maybe the UK store long term isn't going to be the best marketplace to be in. From what I saw from the Amazon KDP marketplaces, Amazon USA was working a lot better for me. So maybe I should have considered setting up the US store first. So I haven't done that. I've continued with the UK store. And I suppose this is where I'm saying stubbornness comes into play. I've gone for the quickest solution first, rather than thinking about what might be the best channel to tackle first. What's going to make the biggest difference to me in terms of a business? Maybe I should be focusing on those marketplaces first. However, I didn't. That has now presented me with the fact that, okay, I'm going to have an online store at my own branded domain name. I'm going to have a UK Etsy store. I'm going to want to create a US Etsy store as well. And I want to also connect my social media profiles to them. So Facebook and Instagram. So I went back to looking how to connect the social media, Facebook and Instagram. And again, that had to be done through the online store. And again, I was running into issues with WooCommerce being the provider. And it all roads seemed to be leading back to Shopify. Shopify works very well with Printify, and Shopify works very well with sending those products across to Amazon, so it seems. And also, Shopify seems to connect very well with Facebook and Instagram. So this was my biggest pivot so far, is I decided that my life was going to be a lot easier moving forward if I scrapped the WooCommerce store and pushed all my Printify products to Shopify. That is what I've been doing this week. And whilst there is quite a lot of setup to do, initially the products are all over there, are all transferred over now to Shopify. The online store is up and running. I'm now focusing on setting up Google Analytics tracking, connecting my Amazon seller account, and integrating and connecting my to business accounts, so for the Facebook and Instagram. So that is what I'm currently working on today. And hopefully, I would say by the middle of next week, that should all be complete. So I will be able to share products with Amazon, share products with Google on Google Shop, share products with Facebook and Instagram, and I'll be able to start posting to social media about all those products that are available. So that is fairly exciting for me. And I think that obviously at the beginning of these projects, there's a lot of setting up that needs to be done. And I'm finding that I'm switching between projects quite a bit. But I feel like once they're all established and they're set up, I'm in a position of basically just running ads on them, that it will be a lot easier to maintain. So I'm hoping that the maintaining phase of these projects will be a lot easier on the brain than the setting up phases. Where does that leave me to? So that leaves me onto the next topic, which is my freelance website and my LinkedIn profile. So one of the things I mentioned, I think possibly in the last episode, it was the element of fear. Obviously, this is the first month that I haven't been paid by a day job. I mentioned last time around that brought about a bit of realization about I need to start earning some money fairly soon. And that led me to thinking it's going to take a little while before the KDP and the print on demand projects are going to be bringing anything that looks profitable. So maybe I do need to make my freelance services available on my website and on LinkedIn. So that is something else that I did this week. I very quickly updated my personal website with some services that I want to provide. And then I also changed my current status on LinkedIn so that anybody that's coming across my profile may start to consider me for freelance work. And what I want to have, the freelance services that I want to provide are orientated around UX research, user interviews, usability testing, sorry, and doing UX website audits. So any businesses that want to improve their website, want to learn more about their customers, to create better buyer personas, to create customer journey maps. I can provide user interviews and to do some usability testing to check out what roadblocks you might have with your website so that you can fill in the gaps in the customer journey and then remove those parts of the website or improve parts of the website that are causing troubles and preventing conversions. That's the update that I've made to my website and LinkedIn, but I'm not yet actively doing any marketing around those topics. I think that'll just have to wait until I have got to a better place with these KDP and print on demand projects. Where that leaves me now with this podcast's website. I mentioned again in a previous episode that my ADHD brain was like, oh, now that I've got the podcast up and running, it needs a website. It needs a social media channel as well. And I did divert my attention a few weeks ago before Christmas, and I created a very simple website that shows the episodes, but I didn't publish it, but I have published it now. And I do also want to add that to my LinkedIn profile as well, because maybe that is something I would quite like to start talking about on LinkedIn a little bit. There is a social media channel. Oh, I say social media channel. There is an Instagram account as well that I've set up, but I haven't posted yet. I think I will start posting on that after I have edited this podcast that we're recording now, and I have posted that out to everywhere. So that's that is basically what has been going on. And to speak about editing, I've spoken about the time it takes to edit this cast on a previous episode. And you might be thinking to yourself, editing? Is he editing this? Is this edited? I would agree with you. It is very much at this stage a very rough and ready one take, because I'm not editing bits out and I'm not doing retakes and things like that. This is very much a warts and all podcast at the moment. I don't have the time to create an amazing podcast at this stage. This is very much a reflection of where I am in this journey. So the editing process is to use a program called Descript, and that can help me just tidy things up a little bit. But also, when I talk about editing, it's also for the video version of the podcast. It allows me to put an intro screen in and some overlays as well, which I will have to start adding in. So things like that. It does take a bit of time. But yes, so I guess the reason that I'm picking up on the editing bit is because I am aware that compared to a lot of podcasts out there, this isn't an amazing production, isn't amazing yet. Oh, that was a bit of navel gazing. Anyway, I will probably start adding some links into the show notes for the various social media channels that I've mentioned or things that I want to link to. So look out for those. Just to wrap up, I hope that you guys are feeling motivated for the new year. Let me know wherever you can, whether it be on the Instagram or if it's in YouTube comments. Let me know how you get motivated after the new year and whether you find it difficult stopping over Christmas. And yeah, the best of luck. I will speak to you again next week. So take care. Bye for now. Still have to waffle towards the end. Hey, Coconut. Yeah. Coconut, shush, shush. Coconut, shush. Shush. Huh? Stop. Stop.